Well, hello my friends, I'm back. Today, I'm going to be making a small vase. I was cleaning my shed and reorganizing, and I ran across this old piece of banyan tree. You probably know I've done some really nice stuff out of this wood. So I'm going to make an end grain vase. But before I start, well, one thing that I just did is I made that shelf, that rack, storage rack for pieces of plywood and stuff like that over my end of my shed over there, which organized it, worked pretty well. Also, on the job that I'm doing, we were demoing out a lot of ipe. It's a very hard wood, very dense, dark in color. And what happened is the mill work company that had a contract put a sheen finish on everything that was ipe, the whole front of the store. So the owners didn't want it. They made us knock it down. So out of the cuts, out of the new stuff, I got a lot of ipe. A lot of ipe. Those are all kind of strips that they didn't use up, and it's all the new stuff that really doesn't have a finish on it. So I decided to at least utilize those. I was sickened to the fact that I could not bring more of that wood. But I don't have any place to put it. I mean, they dumped out, oh God, 1,000 square feet, basically. And it's all tongue and groove. It was flooring boards, but it was used on walls for highlight and stuff like that. So anyway, I brought what I figured I could handle. So it meant I had to rearrange a lot of things around, both the shelf above the lathe, that cabinet over there, the shelf above my radial arm saw, and make that cubby up there. I have a maple vase still mounted on there, which needs a little bit of finishing. I gotta go on the inside and finish sanding, but I'm not in the mood to do this one right now. So I also want to bring something up that maybe is a part of the reason why you guys probably think that I'm being a little bit dangerous with my turnings. You see me doing this quite a bit. No worm screw, no face plate. It's like, how in the world am I holding this up? I will tell you how in the world it's holding up. Right now this is acting as a face plate, no doubt about that. And for this to come out of since I got a live center on it, for it to come out of the live center would literally have to move away from it, because it can't possibly twist up on me. So once I put this up, and I will do that, and I will do a little demonstration on that. Once I put this up, and I find the center that I want, and again, not the center of the wood, because the vase is not going to hold this shape at all. So it's the center of the bulk of the wood of what I want to keep. And I would say right about there. Good lock on my tailstock. Good lock. I can literally embed the point. Let me bring you in there. I can literally sink in that tip on my live center. Now, for this piece to come out of here, it's impossible. So I don't feel that I'm cheating in any way or being any sort of a rebel with this by not following certain protocols. It is on there in a way that it's not going to go anywhere. I'm just balancing it off so I can get the biggest part of it on the top right now. Okay, so the whole piece is solid against my, okay, it is now solid against my the back end of my chuck. I got a lot of pressure on my tailstock, and it's impossible for this thing to flip up or down without my live center moving away. It just it can't go. I will knock my lathe over before this can come off. Does the manufacturer tell you to do that? No, they tell you to use a faceplate or a worm screw or anything like that. Now there's another advantage to this is I know for a fact while I got my piece mounted like that, I am not going to be chancing and having it mounted without my live center. There's no way. I can't loosen it up and make anything. I have to be between centers. If I had a glue block back there or a faceplate, I could be tempted to move my tailstock, and you're putting yourself in more danger than I am at this point. Because anytime you have something long and you're relying just on the chuck, you'll have a much better chance of that thing flinging off than I do with this particular turn. So, with that being said, I'm going to set up my tool rest, get it fairly close, and that's pretty good right there. Well, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to true this up a little bit, and I'm going to create a tenon on this side so I can flip-flop this and still use it between centers. Lathe, I'm going to run it at around 400 or 500 RPMs to start off with. Maybe 600 RPMs. Every once in a while, check your tailstock, make sure you're still tight in there. Don't let it wander off on you. Well, I think that this pen might be a little bit too small for the inside of my chuck, for the 100 millimeter. So I might have to put my 50 millimeters up. Yeah, it's way too small. And it's a little bit too big for the 50. So I'll go back in here and remount it. Make sure that I'm square back here again against my chuck. Lock it up, and I'm ready to go. Round it off a little bit more. Okay, but that's good enough for me to flip over and see what I want to do for design. Now, this chuck, whether if it's the chuck itself or the jaws, I'm not sure, has been a little bit problematic for me. It, for some reason, I lose pieces on this one, where I don't lose it on the other. I don't know if it loosens itself up, or just the jaws themselves are a little bit smooth or whatever, but I seem to have a tendency to lose pieces with this one, but it's problematic with the jaws itself and not the fashion or the way that I'm treating the turning. Okay. Well, I've sent it back in there while I can. And I'm going to turn this about 1,000 RPMs. Okay, I have to do something with this stop. So I'm going to make this a small turnover and a little neck. Something I've gotten away from in the last few turnings was sanding sealer. And I'm going to apply it to this. And it does make a difference. Now this Banyan doesn't have much color, but what it lacks in color, it sure has in wood grain. When I first picked this up, I was so disappointed when I got home and I realized that nobody really turns this stuff. You know, because it's a tree. Well, I mean, I don't run into this all the time. They do have these trees down here in South Florida, Banyan, and the tree itself is an amazing tree. I mean, one tree can take up 10 acres because the way its growth pattern is. It just keeps branching itself from the branches. It keeps rooting itself back to the ground, making this huge canopy. And you know, in India, I believe, it's considered to be a sacred tree. Tradesmen used to do meetings underneath these trees because of their huge canopy. It's the tree, I believe that it's the bark, is in modern day is used for medicine as well. I don't know exactly what, but I read that a while back, so I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's used for medicine or uses. But not the wood itself. The wood has no value. As a matter of fact, all they say it's it's firewood. When people tell me something is a piece of firewood, I'm more determined to make something out of it, because no piece of wood is just for firewood. I figure if I can mount it on my lathe, I can make something out of it. Might not be the best thing, and it might be small, but whatever. But something can always be done in a piece that is considered to be firewood. Heck, all my pieces could be considered firewood because, I really don't get exotic woods. I get what comes to me. I hear a chainsaw running in the vicinity of my house. I go check it out. I see what's there. And of course, most of the time it's oaks, because oak is very common down here. It's the most common tree. But every once in a while I get a real gem. And that's the beauty of it. Wet sanding it with 1200 grit, wet dry sandpaper, and I don't spend a lot of time doing this. Basically, just go back and forth a few times, make sure that if there's any pores, they get filled up with the sanding sealer, and the rest is flat. And the sanding sealer I use is Minwax sanding sealer. Now, I've had some of you come up with some problems sanding the sanding sealer. Well, the only reason why you would have a problem sanding sanding sealer is if you're power sanding or using a wet dry sanding. I don't use power sander, and I don't sand it dry. I always use my wet sanding when I'm sanding it down, so it doesn't gum up. Sanding sealer will definitely gum up your sandpaper if you're not going through these phases or these steps. Now make sure that it has no moisture left. And it feels good, it looks good. I don't see any pitting, any tool marks. I almost have a gloss just from the sanding sealer itself, and that's not a finish. The finish that I'm using is Captain Eddie's Shine Juice. It's made of 1/3 shellac, 1/3 denatured alcohol, and 1/3 of boiled linseed oil. Recently I substituted the linseed oil for what was that, Danish oil, but I didn't like the results. I get a better finish with this than I did with the mix that I tried out. So I apply it, let the wood soak it in a little bit. Then you can wait a minute or so and apply another coat on it before I speed buff. That looks pretty good. See if the wood will take a little bit more. Now, part of the reason why I love banyan tree is the characteristics that are on it. You know, many people say, oh, you're so lucky, you get all these exotic woods and stuff. And really, I mean, yeah, I'm in tropical, Florida is very tropical. So therefore, yes, things do grow a little bit better here than they would somewhere else. But in the same token, you guys got other woods that I don't, hardwoods. You know, so, you know, you're never stuck wherever you're at as far as what you can turn or as far as what you get for turning. Now, if I must say so myself, this has a nice finish. The banyan really takes on a good finish, and it's an amazing wood. It really is. I'm so glad I was able to come up with this. Unfortunately, it was just once. I got a couple of logs out of it, so you know, it was lucky. And I would think that I would see a lot more of it because, like I said, it grows so ragged but it also becomes such a landscape. It becomes a tourist attraction on where they have them. You know, people photograph underneath this tree probably more than any other tree. They put themselves in between the branches and the roots. The root systems are amazing on this. If you have a chance, take a look at it. Look it up. Do a Google banyan, and you will see what I'm talking about. Amazing, amazing tree. Well, right now, I really don't have a way. I made this mount probably a little bit small, where it's not going to fit inside the jaws of my on this set right now. But still, I think I'm going to try. I'm going to see if in fact it is too small or not. It's too small by 1/8 of an inch. It grips. Wow. That was luck. Of course, the jaws are closed up pretty much. So I'm going to see if I'm still center, because I still have my live center mark there. And if I am, well, then that is great. So I'm going to round this off and get rid of this base completely. feel that it's dirty enough for me to go in there and finish that off very lightly and be able to sand it. And for that, I'm going to use a parting tool. I mean a skew. You know, if you plan your work and you plan the size of your the mouth on vases and stuff like that, that's always a good option to think of ahead of time and be able to mount it back up for your finishes on the back side. And you can see that really it did nothing to damage the mouthpiece. So here it is, a little bit of Banyan, a really nice luster on this. It's deep luster. The bottom looks good, nice clean design. It's concaved. And the shape, it's a pleasing shape. I think it is. The markings that go through here are really nice. I've gotten nothing but great results out of this Banyan wood. And the tiger striping that goes through it really looks good. I call it tiger striping. That's me. Well, guys, thanks for watching. And again, my apologies for rambling way too much, probably more than what you need to hear. And basically for being the way that I am. I'm not apologizing for the way I am. But I'm apologizing if the way I am comes across as a Mr. Know-it-all of any kind. Someone, I'm constantly challenging myself. I challenge myself because I don't think anybody else does. So therefore, I have to keep my own challenges going. And my own challenges sometimes get me in trouble. A little more than what I need to be, but that's what makes life interesting, is always striving for the next step, and many of you do wonders with that as well, and I applaud you. Banyan tree vase. Now, if I made a small finial for this, you know, I ended it up here, but the possibilities almost endless. Now, if I made a little finial here, this would make a nice urn. And but I do the design that comes to mind, and then later on I can always enhance it. And like I said, do a little recess or just the beveled lid on it, nice tight fit, and I got plenty of colored woods now. I got plenty to choose from: red, brown, almost black, white. So, see you next time, guys. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Take care.